For the last 40 years, the Intercontinental Championship has rocked the WWE like a hurricane. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blogger who always tells it like it is. Yeah, I didn't do a vlog last week because at the time, Dorian was barreling my way. Thankfully for me, it did a reverse Andrew, calmed down, and banked north. The Bahamas got the worst of it, though North Carolina wasn't exactly spared either. Please give to the Red Cross to help the victims. Meanwhile, get this thing off, and let's get back to work. Having a world champion in your federation is kind of a given. After all, you have to let people know who is the best in your branch of the business. Even AEW now has a main champ. By the way, big honking surprise that it was Jericho who won it, right? Yeah. But in the days when pro wrestling was just starting to get very popular, the world champ was rarely seen in a match on TV, and even more rare was said champ putting the title on the line. The WWE was no different. Hulk Hogan only seemed to show up on syndicated TV for promos and only defended the title at house shows, WrestleMania, and Saturday Night's Main Event. But a secondary champion didn't seem to have such restrictions. They were champions, but though the prestige wasn't as great, they were seen more often in the ring on TV, even if the title matches were, again, limited to house shows. The NWA WCW had their United States champion. NXT has its North American title. Other feds that were on local TV had television champions. For the WWE, for the last 4 decades, it has been the Intercontinental Championship. Started in 1979, Pat Patterson was given the title, although he swore up and down that he actually won the title in a tournament held in Brazil. Patterson was the North American champ of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation before the name was changed after the "wide" was dropped. He didn't hold it long, as Ken Patera gave Bobby the Brain Heenan the first champ under his management. During the early 1980s, the title, like most at the time, would stay with the champ for a good while before being dropped. Pedro Morales would be the first to win the title multiple times, going back and forth with Don Magnificent Morocco. And Tito Santana was also a 2-time champ during that time. Of course, the one that brought pizzazz to the Intercontinental Championship, and brought it into the most prominence, I believe, was the one who was champ when I first got into pro wrestling. Randy Macho Man Savage. This guy had charisma for days, nay, for weeks. Yeah, he cheated to win the title and had the help of a corrupt referee, but once he had it, he flaunted it. He could only have been more proud of it if it had been the WWE Championship. Not to say that he and Hogan didn't have some killer battles during that time. Now, it ended with the exceptional WrestleMania 3 match where Ricky the Dragon Steamboat finally beat him. And then 2 months later, after Ricky bitched about needing more vacation time, he dropped it to the most unlikely of contenders, the Honky Tonk Man. Talk about flaunting it, though he lacked the class of Savage, really. He held the belt for the longest single reign in the title's history, 454 days. Then he lost it to the Ultimate Warrior at the first SummerSlam, never to recover it again. Now, since the 80s, the title hasn't seen anywhere near so long a reign. In fact, the longest single reign since Honky Tonk Man lost it was by Mr. Perfect, who held it for half of 1991 until Bret Hart beat him. And once Raw started broadcasting, it seemed the title was changing hands more and more often. True, so was the WWE title, but at least that title has had at least one man holding it for over a year. Then there was the brief time where there was no Intercontinental Champ. In 2002, then Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff decided that the brand needed only one men's solo title. So he spent months consolidating the European, Hardcore, and Intercontinental titles together. Then at the No Mercy pay-per-view, then World Champ Triple H beat then IC Champ Kane to unify the belts and bury the secondary title for a while. Thank goodness Steve Austin, who began running Raw alongside Bischoff the following year, decided to reintroduce the title, giving it to Christian for winning a Battle Royal. As far as extremes for the venerated title, Chris Jericho holds the record for the most reigns with 9, although Miz has a chance to tie it at Clash of Champions. Pedro Morales has the most cumulative days as champ, though again, Miz can top that if A, he wins, and B, he holds on to it for longer than 3 weeks. The current champ, Shinsuke Nakamura, is in the middle of the 172nd Intercontinental title reign as the 83rd unique person to hold the belt. Shortest reign belongs to Dean Douglas, who mere minutes after receiving the title when the reigning champ couldn't defend, lost it to Razor Ramon. And of course, we can't forget the only female to hold the coveted belt, Chyna. The first time she held it was as co-champs with Jericho, but she took hold of it by herself in the summer of 2000, even if she did win it in a tag match with Eddie Guerrero. She only held it for a week before Eddie did his usual lie, cheat, steal spiel to take it from her, but she is thus far the only female to hold a title that was only for males. So, that's the Intercontinental Championship in a nutshell. Oh, and I'm glad that they returned to the 80s, 90s version of the belt a few years ago. Maybe I'm just nostalgic, but hey, I always liked that design. So, happy 40th anniversary, IC title, and may you continue to be a stepping stone for superstars for the next 40 years. Should we survive that long? I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blogger who always tells it like it is. See ya.